好香啊！您也闻闻，
对，
是吧？特别香。大家呢第一次一眼看到玫瑰花，第一反应肯定以为我在云南，其实不是。我们现在呢是在四川省阿坝州小金县达维镇夹金村。夹金村呢就坐落在夹金山下，这里面呢平均海拔有2800多米。过去呢，我们的这里村民靠种植土豆为生，但是呢，一年的辛苦和努力啊，经常被山上的野猪给拱了吃了。所以这里面村民他们的生活条件其实是非常艰苦的。小金县呢，也是极度贫困县之一。但是近10年呀，有一个特别有意思的现象发生了，就是在我们小金呀，一片一片的玫瑰花海。
Elevation of 2,800 meters. In the past, people would usually grow potatoes, but they earn just a little bit of money. However, in the last decade, we have discovered a new wonder. That is the whole sea of the rose flowers. So today, the highland roses have become a flower of treasure and also happiness for the local villagers. So first of all, we'd like to start with the very first step. That is the collection of the flowers. So today we have invited with us a great expert of the flower harvesting. This is the Damascus roses, from which we can make an extraction of the essential oils of the flower. And also a lot of ladies are working here in the field of the roses. And now I'd like to pick the most beautiful one. So I'd like to have a try myself. So I will just take the flower from this point, and you give it a very gentle pick. So it seems an easy job. However, that is still very challenging for a newcomer to this field. And just now, all the ladies, the professionals, they are laughing at me. So you can also blend the rose flowers into the food and also the other snacks. So currently we don't have a lot of flowers left in the field because all the flowers have been picked during the season, and now we are moving towards the end of the season. That's the reason why. The first flower would appear at this position of the plant, and later we can expect to see more buds. So it means that we are not coming to this village at the best moment of the year for the flower harvesting. After the harvesting of the flowers, what would be the next step? As we can see the sisters, they have collected so many beautiful roses.
这个柴火的话，实际上只是烧柴那个柴，实际从我们这个农村来说，它就不是烧柴，它就是那个柴盐滚滚那个柴。你越麻得多，你的柴盐越好，是这个意思。
所以这里是一个谐音梗，就是柴和财，对吧？就是把这个柴火都摞起来，就相当于是
好像你的财源好
财源好，财源滚滚，是好意头的意思。
对。
So it's a really challenging job to cultivate those plants because you have to get up really early in the morning so that you can have the best moments during the day to cultivate and also to harvest those roses. And people would also put all the dried wood here because in the Chinese language, those dried wood has the same pronunciation as treasure. And on our way here, we have noticed a lot of new houses. But still here, you can see some relatively devastated houses. Those houses were damaged during the 2008 great earthquake here in the province. And later on, the local government has allocated special funds in order to help the village out. Our village of Jiajing has received the opportunity to build up a lot of new houses in a great batch after that earthquake. And we have also built up our own sectors of agriculture. For example, the potatoes and also the vegetables. However, there's another problem with the crop growing. That is a labor-intensive industry. You have to devote a lot of effort, and you cannot earn so much by the crop growing. And today, luckily, we have this rose plantation sector. So our income has been multiplied by 10 times, and we don't have to work so hard. For every moo of cultivation of roses, we can earn an income of about 10,000 RMB. So that is a significant change. In the past, when you were growing the potatoes, you cannot expect a very good harvest, and sometimes the result of your harvest could be even damaged by the wild animals. And today, your life has been completely changed because you can earn so much more by growing the roses, and it can give very beautiful perfume and it can cheer you up. You can feel very comfortable when working with the flowers. And we have noticed a very big fresco because around our village we have very tall snowy mountains. This is the snowy mountain of the Jiajing. For those viewers that have just tuned in, we are now in the Jiajing village of the Xiaojin County. And this Jiajing village is just located by the foot of the snowy mountain. During the long march of the Red Army, Jiajing Mountain was the first one that they have climbed over. Premier Zhou Enlai and also General Zhu De have all visited this place. That's why we have made this grand wall painting here in order to memorize the revolutionary spirit of our predecessors. And now over there you have noticed some people surrounded by the boxes of the flowers. Those are the flowers newly collected. So do you have the buyers here? Oh, the buyers are here. So what is the price of the sales of the roses? I will give you some time. So how much do you have?
美女就是一直在专心搞她的
So what I
进行数学
have
计算
now
没有时间理我了已经。那我们把这个
is in smaller quantity compared to those in the boxes held by the sisters.
就装走了，不得给我钱吗？我这个工钱还没有给我呢。
So shall I mix mine with yours?
这样子的。
So I will just pour them into the boxes
每天来
and mix my flowers with yours.
今天好多号。
What about next step? So will we weigh these flowers?
收完之后，就他们那个厂头呢，他就把钱包在这个地方来。
Our beautiful lady is doing the
我就光负责
calculation. She's so busy with
我也要按一个手印儿了啊。
all the calculations and the business.
哦呀，
使劲儿。OK。
And later on, what would happen? There will be a truck coming to our site in order to take all the flowers away, and by then I will be paid. Every day, the amount of your collection and harvest would be recorded here, and you will sign your name here by the number.
他厂头的设备是，你每家人都是背着背起来。
For example, you can put your name here, and you can leave your fingerprint here.
动车，它是保护的比较好，这个东西。
包裹的比较好，储存的也比较好，不会在那个运输的途中。
So what I've collected is the Damascus rose.
标准的茶，比如说这种就只
So
能做精油，
哦，
它要分，
这种只能
只能做精油，它
My
这个
part is done here.
它要掉下去，很多工人在给它打工。
Every day they will drive to the spot in order to take the harvest.
外国人呀、残疾人呀这些之类，我们厂头呢，它很旧的。
那做精油的就是比较值钱的，是吧？哦，那这个比较
They will
值钱
put the flowers into the plastic containers, and later on, all those plastic containers would be stacked up inside this truck.
你看嘛，这些好的，发现好的，它每天还有，它是人多要上2、3倍。
We have different shapes of the flowers.
这种它就拿来。
For example, this one, the smaller one will be used for the rose tea, for the herbal tea, and for the larger in size. The other one would be used for the extraction of the essential oil. So this one for the herbal tea, and this bigger one with the lighter pink color would be used for the essential oil extraction. And that one used for the essential oil making would be more expensive in the market. So we can earn much more by the production of that. And with this, you can make them into the rose jam.
好，那我们现在往那边走。
对对对。
And for these standard one, we will first dry them, and later we will sell them in bottles for people to serve during their tea time. And you have talked so much about the extraction of the essential oil, so I'm so curious about this step. Later on, we're about to visit a factory for the production of the essential oil, and we will see how people would extract the essential oil from the roses.
我们现在是把早上刚刚从这个玫瑰园摘的这个玫瑰已经倒入了我们这个大机器啊。这个机器是用来制作玫瑰精油提炼的一个机器。哦，还有一箱，来继续。基本上我们是从一个室外的花海进入了一个室内的花海，这个地方好香，是吧？
是这个，我们这个每天早上采的鲜花呢，从这个老百姓凌晨2点钟开始采摘，
对，
采摘了我们就把
Now we have poured the newly collected roses
收购拿回来，我们就开
into
始
this
鲜
big
花加工
machine.
因为我们这里这个。
This machine is one of the important steps during the extraction of essential oil from the petals of the flowers. Just now we have visited a sea of flowers, and now we are inside another chamber of perfume. Isn't that every day early in the morning? We would start our work of collection by 2 a.m. and later on we can assemble all the flowers here. Because the roses, they can give a lot of days as the blossoming season, so we can have 3 months and 2 weeks for the processing of the flowers. So this is the lady for our collection and also the extraction work. She is referred to as the sister of roses.
我们现在是在2层，这个基地的2层，1层就是我们今天早上那个卡车里面装上新鲜的玫瑰，直接就能运到这个里面，
对对，
是吧？这个场景还是非常壮观的啊。
我们都是这个加工，所有都是以这个以定再加工的，就是以他们的药玫瑰茶呀，以这个药精油啊，这样来固定客人，就给他们加工好的。
那我们可以看到这个是不是
We are now on the first floor of this building.
榨出来的玫瑰精油啊？
And this morning, as we have noticed, a very big truck has transported so many rose flowers away from the village. And now, actually, this is the destination for the truck. The truck has sent all the flowers here for the next step of the processing. We can have multiple functions connected with our rose flowers. For example, they can use for the manufacturing of the herbal tea, the rose tea. And on the other hand, we can also expect to see another important way of using the flowers. That is the extraction of the essential oil from the rose petals. Could you just give us a sample of the essential oil? Yes, of course. And here, our flowers grown here have a very big characteristic. Those are the organic flowers. And another thing is that they can give a higher degree of the extraction of the essential oils, because here we have a very big gap of temperature between day and night. So that is a very big feature with the flowers of roses from the Xiaojin County. And also we use the organic fertilizers in order to nourish the soil. We don't apply any chemicals during the production of the flowers. So that is the liquid gold, the extracted essential oil from the petals of the roses. I can still feel the temperature because it's just out of the machine. The perfume is really strong. Inside this environment, with the ambience already decorated by the
你看这个加工了几个小时，
perfume of the roses, I can still smell the, I can still
它全部都是
smell that great perfume of the flowers.
这个科学，重新嘛，以科学来这个
So let's continue with our journey.
化管控、数字化管理。
This is the extraction machine, and everything is under the control of this digital panel.
哎，下到一层突然就凉快了一点，是吧？
It's different from the past. In the past, we need some personnel standing here to monitor the whole process of 3 to 4 hours, but today everything has been digitalized.
回类我们是第一家紫金桶，紫金桶呢也是引进这个保加利亚的这个技术，因为那个的它
And it's
这个玫瑰金，
very smart. The whole process has been
而且里面
digitalized.
这个云用
And now we are down to the ground floor.
不锈钢提炼出来的有180多种，就是那个紫金桶提炼有2多种。
Inside, we have 12 units of the machines.
外面是不锈钢，它几层？3层。
这刚才说到那个保加利亚，
We have also imported the technologies from the Bulgaria.
这个呢就是这个实际上玫瑰跟它刚引进过来，保加利亚引进过来，但是现在呢，我们把它
Here we have extracted
我们这个引进
the hydrolate
高原嘛，经过我们
from the roses. And because we have this very advanced technology, we can really preserve that wonderful smell and fragrance of the petals of the roses.
不一样了啊，不一样了。说到这个呢，就是
What kind of roses have we applied here in the plant?
100吨哟。
对4个块就400吨。现在在
您这个厂子就是基地看起来不大，然后五脏俱全，然后能成了东家。
First of all, we have imported the species, the varieties from Bulgaria, and later on we have realized the adaptation of these varieties on the local soil. For example, we have this Jingshan roses. So they would differ a little bit from the original variety, which is the Damascus rose. And inside, we have a very huge volume,
是就是在负责
which is 100 tons of liquid inside. The factory from outside seems very small, but inside we find there's a world here. And we also have personnel handpicking those flowers.
早上刚刚老百姓摘的时候，它实际上它就是一个花，
Those are newly collected flowers from the field.
它就开了。所以说就
Good morning,
3个小时
madam.
开的这个花，这种呢我们就可以
So you are an expert for the selection of those flowers. What is the technique for the handpicking?
也是紫色的，中间呢还是红色的。所以说这个我们
You have to choose those flowers with multiple layers of petals.
2楼车间去摆放再加工，17个小时它就是花茶。
阿姨，您能给我拿一个就是炼精油的？
During the moment of collection,
看，但这个还
it's still a bud.
我左边
But during the whole process of transportation, you can see that the blossoming is going on, and finally we can see the petals.
的，对。然后像这种就开的比较大了，是吗？开的比较大了，我们
And after this process of the handpicking, we can move those flowers up to the first floor in order to go on with the next step of the processing. Man, could you please give us another example of the flower for the extraction of the essential oil?
外面都是花的，差不多。
Now you can see that one for the herbal tea, another for the essential oil. They are totally different in the shape, and I believe that they are in different stage of the blossoming.
我想问这位阿姨，
For the bigger ones, they can be used for the extraction of the essential oil, and the smaller ones would be used for the making of the herbal tea.
那这个您现在工资是不是比以前高特别多了？
Because now we have almost closed the season, so it's not the peak time. During the peak time, we can expect to see more than 100 personnel working at the same time for the selection of the flowers. And most of the personnel working here for the handpicking, they are the local villagers. So this is also a great way to help increase their revenues. In the past, what did you do for a living? I used to be a farmer. What about the revenue? I can earn 3 to 4 times higher than the past. Today, we have mobilized several generations of people. They have all participated in this industry of the rose growing. Now we have so many flowers in our hands. If you have followed our program just now, if you have listened very carefully to our explanation, you could now distinguish the ones for the herbal tea making and the other ones for the extraction of the essential oil. And in the blossoming season, sometimes we can have really good quality of the flowers. I know that you have a very big production base for the rose growing. In the past, people are obliged to work in the wild in order to grow some crops and also some vegetables. It was really hard work. Today, people's life has been completely changed. And I think it's also due to your contribution to this establishment of the sector. In the very beginning, how did this idea of rose plantation come to you? In the past, I used to run a restaurant. I also created a company of my own. In 2010, I started another career as the cook. In 2011, I was elected by the villagers to be the head of the village. And I always believe that whatever job you take, you have to be really serious about that. And in our village, whatever difficulties people encounter in daily life, they would come up to me for help. For example, sometimes they would come to me to complain about the destruction of their crops caused by the animals in the wild. So by then, we have organized some meetings and we discussed about this topic. And suddenly I realized something special in the field. That was a local flower as a rose. So suddenly this idea came to me. I started to wonder whether we could make some profit out of the roses. And I believe that this is a very good choice because the roses have the thorns, and in that way they are protected from the wild animals, for example, from the wild pigs. So if we grow the roses, they will not be easily damaged by the wild animals. And later on, I've also asked some friends who have the knowledge about the flower industry. They shared with me the knowledge about the extraction of the essential oil, and also they tell me how expensive they can be sold in the market. Finally, I realized the value of the roses, and I started my research. So that is a very great history. And I believe that you are an active person. Once you have an idea, you would immediately turn those ideas into the reactions.
成功种出了这个玫瑰，因为最开始应该还没有这个
Every
精油
day
厂，
we
是不
would
是？
do
还得
the
拿去外面
observation.
在
We have visited 24 provinces in order to learn the skills and techniques for the growing and plantation of this flower. People say that I become crazy about the flowers because during that moment, every day I think about roses only. Do you still remember the first time you successfully grow the roses out from the fields? In 2016, we put up this factory. We have 4,200 square meters of surface inside this factory. Before the establishment of this factory, we have transported our harvest of the rose flowers to other factories in other places for the further processing. So that's why we have decided to put up our own factory. So during the first trip towards outside for the processing of our flowers, we have waited beside the machines in order to see the final result of those extractions. The first time when I see that they have successfully extracted 5 milliliters of essential oil from the flowers, I was so touched. I was in tears. I was so excited because the first 5 milliliters, they are so precious to me. By then, I couldn't make a word. All I had were the tears in my eyes, and people around me, suddenly they were shocked. They could not understand why I was shedding tears, but I was really moved and impressed by the first result of our hard efforts throughout the years. And today roses have become a real star to remove the whole village and the county from the list of the poverty-stricken areas. So today we have visited the rose fields and also the rose factory. And one more important activity to show to our viewers is the making of the snacks based on the rose petals. Because I know our sister, she's been a great cook in the past, so we cannot help inviting her to make some snacks to showcase to us. We have also added some walnuts and also the rose petal jams. And this final product can be preserved for 2 years. We're about to make a balm based on the rose. I don't believe I can make it. This is quite easy. Just follow me. I'll give you an example. After being engaged in the rose industry, I didn't cook for 10 years. And my husband even complained to me that today I only have one thing on my mind, that is the rose. So I can tell that your husband becomes really jealous. And now it's made, we can put it on the steam. Today in all the families, people would boil some tea, the herbal tea with the rose, the dried rose petals. And sometimes when we cook, we would even mix some petals of the roses into the meals. As you can tell, we have enlarged the whole surface of plantation of roses. So another idea came to us is the eco-tourism. For example, we have this production chain of the roses, which is also open to the tourists. And today we have also applied digital technologies for the management of the rose fields. Those are also the future development directions. And I believe that in the future the production chain would be further automated. As I can tell now, the Xiaojin County is propelling its industry of tourism. So in the future, we can expect to see the combination of tourism and also the rose plantation. When people come to visit our county, they can not only admire the beautiful scenery from the snowy mountain, but also they can join the agro-tourism developed by our villagers. They can visit the fields of the roses and also visit the factories. Also, they can learn how to make some snacks and also the buns like this with the jam of rose petals. Those are really hot. And I cannot wait any longer to taste them. So this one, the broken one, is my work. It's a sweet one. So cheers. Cheers. So we also wish a very beautiful future for the whole county of Xiaojin and especially for your rose industry. This one is really sweet. And also I can smell the fragrance of the roses. Yes, the perfume from the flowers and also the walnut, which makes the bun really chewy. It's also one of the favorite snacks for the children and also for the elderly persons.